What's up, you guys? This is a completely new style of video. I was sitting around trying to think of things to do for my Saturday video, and I came up with something totally different. You see right here, we've got Ace Combat 5, The Unsung War, and I don't know if I'll do how many of these I'll do or what I'll do, but I wanted to do something that was more about the game than it was, about getting the game and that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to call this maybe Storytime with games. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever shows up in the title's what I decided on. But Ace Combat 5 is obviously lots of my games. I have stories of playing them back when I was a kid, or how I got them when I picked them up when I got older. Ace Combat 5 is one that I definitely have a story for. This was a really pretty formative game for me. I bought my PlayStation 2 myself. I was umpiring in the summer, and I earned a pretty good bit of money, and I turned part of that into PlayStation 2 that summer, and some of the earlier games I bought I've since rebought. But this game, that following Christmas, my dad asked me what I wanted, and I've told this story on the radio before, but at the time my parents were going through a divorce, and they were both dealing with some hard times, and my dad was really trying to make Christmas special that year and make sure that the kids, me and my sister, got what we wanted. So he was asking me for a list, and this was one of the things that I just happened to put down on the list was Ace Combat 5, because I'm a huge flight sim guy, even all the way back to like DOS 3.1 days or Windows whatever it was. I played some basic like floppy disk flight sim games. I think Chuck Yeager was one of the ones that we had, and I just love that kind of stuff. My dad and I were always big into it, and so when he was making a point that we all got something that we had asked for, things that we had asked for that year, this was one of the gifts that I got, and I gotta tell you, I played the snot out of this. In fact, if we flip it over here, I think it says, down here at the bottom, it says pilot 50 licensed, authentically detailed planes and choose your aircraft colors. Now, I didn't do a whole lot of that, but what I did do was get all those planes. I remember at one time I had all 50 of them, which is a lot. Now, I don't have that now. This is not my original copy. I bought this on eBay to try and replace the copy that I had. The copy that I had might have even been a greatest hits version. Also, I found it interesting that this game takes place in 2010. Now, I don't have the disc in here. The disc is upstairs, but my copy didn't come with this Namco Transmission Volume 2. If you're familiar with, back in the day, we couldn't just download betas and test games and things like that. This is a demo disc which carried several different game demos. Now, also back in the PlayStation 2 era, we got manuals. I think that's a ton of fun. I was shocked there was no story to this, but this game really, really good. The campaign mode has an exciting story to it. More importantly, the flight dynamics of this game were very good, and I think most people are familiar with the current Ace Combat games, Infinity or something like that. Ace Combat 6 might have just come out a couple of years ago. I don't know what they're all called. I know Ace Combat 7 is coming later this year, but this game was top flight and really pushed the PS2. Some of the graphics on it are just awe-inspiring. So for me, the game was great, but it was this thing where I guess our family wasn't in a good place at the time, and that Christmas really seemed to, my dad was putting forth a lot of effort, I'll say that, and That's just going to be something that particular Christmas will always stick with me to some degree, because, you know, this game didn't mean anything to my dad, but he knew it was something that I wanted, and for him to go out of his way to make sure I got that at a time when I'm sure he had bigger things to worry about. So there was that. Plus, my dad and we connect some, but one of the things we always connected on outside of baseball was space and flight and things like that. And my dad didn't play video games at the time. He doesn't really play them now. Well, I don't guess he plays them at all now, except for maybe some Wii every now and then. But he did sit down and attempt to play this one. And another fairly personal thing about my family, my dad is he's dealt with a tough injury where he lost some fingers, and it was really hard for him to play, but he at least tried to play with me. Now, I was a grown kid by this point. I was like 17, 18 years old, but that stuff just mattered. And I think anybody that collects games the way that I do, and the way that a lot of people that watch these videos do, I think we all have some stories somewhere along that lines. I mean, a lot of my NES stuff, I could go back to Saturdays sitting upstairs at my grandmother's house playing with my two aunts, and or watching them play for that matter. So I think we all have stories around the different games that we play. And for me, Ace Combat 5 is just one that sticks out a lot for me. There are some others that I may do this on, but this one really stood out, partly because of the family stuff and the Christmas and all of that. And you know, I think that had a lot to do with it. It's surprising to me how much something like that, we've all got memories from childhood. It's surprising to me that something like this would stick with me. But when I started collecting games, this was one of the first games that I made a point to go out and order. It's in one of my early videos, because this one stuck with me, not just being fun, but being a game that on some level means something to me. So I think we'll call this Saturday Storytime. I won't do it every week, but Storytime's about games. Storytime about games. I like that. So I may do this with some other games in the future. I can think of, Super Mario Brothers for one. I can think of some stories on that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's lots of games I'll be able to do this for. So I'll do this. You guys tell me, what's a game that stuck out for you as a kid, whether it's an emotional tie or whatever the thing about that game is for you. What's a game with a story for you? Tell me about it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and certainly comment, and I'll see you guys next time.